three people, if you could raise your hands. We will all be around afterwards and giving out tours and stuff like that as well. So if you have any questions, want to flesh out some ideas, just find one of us and we're happy to answer. Today, the presentation will be given by our very own Abby Cook and Wade Neff. They're amazing assets to our team, and they know what they're doing. So, enjoy the presentation. Take it away.
All right, I'm going to get going. So again, as Abby said, thank you so much for coming. We know it's early in the morning, but we're excited to go through this content with you because it is a really awesome opportunity. My name is Abby. I'm the Creative Services Manager, so I oversee our design team as well as do a lot of the designs that you might use us for. So I'm going to be going over a lot of the concept development and strategy behind building your brand and building that branded space as far as the artwork goes. And then I'm going to hand it off to Wade, and I'll let him say his title because it's too long for me.
So I'm the Strategic Business Unit Manager for the signage area.
See what I mean? He takes care of overseeing that team to strategize and come up with the best solution for you. So if you'll start with Wade normally, and then he'll bring the design team in to help build what the visuals to go along with your brand will be. So we want to start off by being pretty broad. So what is a brand? Just to make sure that that definition is clear, because that builds a good foundation for how we move forward. So David Ogilvy defines it as the intangible sum of a product's attributes. Excuse me, sorry, too early in the morning. So I like that definition because it speaks to how brand is more than just your logo and your colors. It is really that feeling that clients get when they interact with you and use your products and interact with your team. It's also the promises that you make to them, the vision that you have. It is how they perceive you and how your team members perceive you. So it's important that you build a good brand that builds that reputation for how you want them to see you, and that's what a lot of the presentation is about today. So, what is a branded space is a good definition for you, because that's what we're all about here today. Just to narrow us down, so the branded space we're talking about is the physical area that you have. So floors, windows, walls, of course, various rooms that you have in your space. This is all part of an experience that you can make for your team members as well as customers that are coming in. And we want to make sure that that experience speaks to that brand that you have, those promises, that mission, those values that you want people to see you for, so that when they walk in, they're not just seeing the space, they're seeing what you stand for, and they're getting those messages in various ways. So where do you start? Moving to that, it's really easy to kind of just want to throw up the logos and colors as much as you possibly can and get it moving and making things pretty. But we ask you to kind of step back and start with some of the foundational elements. A lot of this is what we'll ask of you when you're speaking to a designer about your space, because we want to make sure that we're using the right elements to support these type of items. So your brand guidelines, that's very important. If you don't have those, I encourage you to have them. We'll help work with you to create them. Those really help keep things cohesive across your brand. At its basics, it's about how you use your logo, where it's used, what restrictions, what opportunities you have there, your colors. As it expands, it should include your mission or vision and how that is used, and it should include maybe some mottos or inspirational quotes to support that vision. All those sort of elements really help us to understand what you're going for, and it helps us to establish a structure and a building that speaks to those types of items. And you want to do that. You want to create that experience that, again, is not just your logo, but it's your brand. It's people walk in and they can see and understand what you want them to see. Adjectives also are really important. We'll ask you for some of those. What are some adjectives that you might use to describe your brand and how you want people to feel when they're in that space? So I threw a couple out here. We'll do an exercise in a minute, but cheerful, clean, corporate are a lot of words people use. Inviting, maybe, modern, playful, sophisticated, traditional, warm. So out of those, there are certain ones that really describe you, and that really helps us to narrow down how those visuals will look, because some spaces are going to be a lot more, like I said, playful than others. Some you're wanting to be more sophisticated. So think about what are those adjectives that will describe your brand. I will make a note. In your bags, there's a worksheet. that you can take with you. This is kind of homework for you. It has a lot of what I'm talking about here, and I'm expanding upon it, of course, but that's you can take with you and do that homework as well to think about those types of ideas. And again, if you don't have any of this, we're happy to help build that with you as well. But this foundation is really important to building that brand space. So, brand exercise for you. Here's 2 spaces that you may frequent. In fact, some people might have been there this morning. I know it's pretty early, so I'm just going to ask you to throw out there, no right or wrong answers, any adjectives that you think you would use to describe these spaces. What do they make you feel when you're in them? If you've been in them. I actually don't drink coffee.
Great Wi-Fi.
There you go. That's good.
Starbucks is sophisticated.
Yeah, sophisticated. That's good.
High end.
Yep.
It's like a friend. Starbucks is comfortable.
Yeah, colorful for Dunkin'.
Starbucks activates all the senses. You know, just don't go and drink the coffee. I smell the coffee.
Yeah.
It's like music.
Yeah.
Everything is a experience.
Exactly. Yeah, that they build that experience. So, yeah, perfect. Because again, you know, Starbucks, their vision might be that they want you to stay a little longer. They want you to be in that space. They're kind of making you wait. And if you think about Dunkin', they're trying to make you move. America runs on Dunkin'. They really want you to be in there and getting that. And you know, they're kind of more of like that. They feel like that everyday person's coffee and donuts type of thing, which is great. That's what they're going for, and they build that personality into their space. How about these guys? No right or wrong answers.
Fresh and modern.
Yeah.
Clean.
Very clean, yes. Very stark, very, they're not using a lot in that space. They're
Open.
Yeah, open. They may have one logo and just some product photos. Microsoft obviously is a lot more colorful, but you get the idea of the personality that they're trying to build in that space as well. One more for you here. Any thoughts on these guys? That's definitely part of their brand. Absolutely. So I bring all these up really just to say, to think about when you're in other spaces, what are the personalities that they're trying to put forward, because that can help you narrow down what you're thinking about. Obviously, none of us are necessarily T-Mobile or Verizon or an Apple or a Dunkin', but we are all trying to build a certain personality and a reputation, and we're trying to connect with our clients in a certain way. So as you go into spaces, look at the materials, look at the messages, look at the imagery that they're using, and that might help give you some ideas. Also, a good point about these is that they're very planned. There is nothing in here that they have not thought about where it's going to be placed, how consistent it's going to be, how it relates to their brand, what messaging is there. And so that's another big point of mine. It's important to back up and think about that space before you rush into just making sure your logo is up. Think about other messaging that you're going to put in there. What is the experience that you're building in that space? So, moving on. The second thing I want you to think about, again, it's on your worksheets as well, is location priorities. So it can feel a little overwhelming when you're looking at a space that is large, just depending on how much of a space you have, as well as how many locations you might have. We encourage you to kind of narrow it down to those spaces that might be higher priority down to lower priority. Obviously, it is a priority, but we want to allow you to have some sort of a focus, because it can be quite overwhelming when you're thinking about that space. So think about the areas that you have, what are those priorities, and then we'll get into later, you might be thinking about different uses for those spaces. So some might be more employee-centered, some might be more customer-focused. We'll talk about that as well. Timeline. I cannot emphasize this enough, especially as we're talking about signage. Now, some of the materials take a lot of time to fabricate. If you're using some metals, a lot of people love the metal lettering, which is awesome. It's a beautiful look. It can take weeks to fabricate those. So you got to think about, what is that timeline that you're trying to achieve? What is your end goal that you want these things to be installed and up in your space? things to think about as well, install adds an additional layer to that, and seasons can affect that as well. If you're thinking about exterior signage, it's going to be hard to get anything in the ground. If you're talking about the winter space, it's going to be hard to put vinyl on the windows because of the temperature. So you got to think about all those sort of things. Whatever your timeline is, I want to encourage you. We'll work with you. We've done some amazing, absolutely crazy things for our clients to make sure that their goals happen. But as early as you can bring us in, the better, so that we can help plan for that. Because the other thing you don't want to do is rush with signage. We don't want to rush because we have to do site surveys to make things are accurate, make sure things are accurate, because when we put them on the wall and you're like, that's not what I want and I don't like it, that's a big deal in comparison to a printed piece that we might have to redo. So definitely slowing that down, making sure we're thinking about it, making sure that we're strategizing and planning and getting those details right up front is a very important part of the process. A couple of things about install. If your building is under construction, like I said, we want to do that final site survey, so we have to wait really until those things are complete so we can make sure things are accurate. So thinking about that, what is your timeline for that? And then if you're painting, that's an important process as well. You can't put vinyl up on paint because it has a gas that it releases. It'll actually push your vinyl off of the wall. So you have to wait 3 weeks, up to 3 weeks after you've painted for that to cure, for us to be able to put those kind of materials on. I don't want to go too much into the details, it can be quite overwhelming. But my biggest message is for timeline, please reach out to us. We'll work with you with whatever timeline you have, but we would love to be a part of that planning process to make sure it's successful. More than walls. So we're talking about branded spaces, and we're talking and focusing a lot on signage, but it is so much more than that, and I'll talk a little bit about the experience coming up here, but it is that experience that you want to create. So you're not just using your walls, but you're also using those marketing materials. What are people receiving when they get in there? What are the promotional items potentially that they have and they see? What are some everyday items that you might brand that they can just see on everyone's desk so they can see how that's applied? Water bottles that you give them, drinkware that you might hand out, mouse pads, notepads and pens, sticky notes, umbrellas is helpful this month apparently, calendars, endless possibilities. So their opportunities are endless for what you can brand, but think about those everyday items that are used around your office and what you might want to give away as customers come in to give them that experience. All right, so defining your purpose. We set aside 3 main areas of purpose. It's really brand awareness, customer experience, and company culture. I'll go through each of those, but to be honest, you can use all 3 of those in your space, and more than likely you do, and you will, and you should, because all 3 of those purposes are important to your business. Brand awareness. So looking at your space for that ability to message those who do not know you, who might be walking by. So looking at the space for what is most public, what can they see while they're driving by on the road, what are those exterior or interior places that you can brand just to show them who you are, what your brand is. Let your walls and your vehicles talk. We're talking about spaces for the most part, but vehicles are a really important part of that as well. Think about how many times people are going to see that on the road. People talk to us all the time. I saw your blue passing me today, or I saw it parked at, they must have been doing a delivery. It's an awesome message and allows us to get that messaging out again. But infuse those company colors and build that first impression. So brand awareness, again, getting the word out there about who you are. What are those spaces that are most visible that you can use for that brand awareness? And then customer experience. So as I mentioned, this is a huge part, especially if you are using your space to bring customers in for meetings or whatever it may be. And it's not just the signage that is on the walls, it is that experience that you're creating for them. So here, does anybody know what our experience is? Has anybody been here before? Yeah. All right, rock stars. You're a rock star, right? So that's the experience that we've built around. It was an idea that really falls in line with our vision, which is to create raving fans by being the single point provider for all your marketing, branding, and communication needs. What does that mean for us? That means that we want you to walk away from here loving us, so excited that you're telling all of your friends, you're wearing our blue paint, you're having our name on your shirt, and you're like, these guys are amazing. And then we're right back at you to say, you're a rock star, we love you too, we want to partner with you, and we want to build this partnership to make sure that your brand is successful, because if you're successful, we're successful too. It's a partnership that we have. So that experience, you come in, you get your very own poster with your name on it, you get a pad with your name on it, you get other gifts, you get taken on a tour, your very own tour because you're a rock star, everyone greets you that way. You get your very own photo, and then we send that photo to you both digitally and printed, and we put it up on our Rockstar Hall of Fame. Again, that's just an experience while we're here, but we want you to feel that way all the time with our customer service, with the way our team is talking to you, with the way that we are reacting to you. But I put all that out to say, this is the experience that we're trying to build. It isn't just what is on the walls. Of course, that's an important thing for us as well, because for us, we're showcasing all of these opportunities. And if you hopefully get a chance to take a tour today, our sales team will help show you some of those different materials that we're using and why, and give you the opportunity to think about using them in your space. So, any questions about our experience? Who's a rock star in here? You are? Yes. So, the other thing is company culture. So, to speak again to our experience with that, not only are you a rock star, but we like to treat our team as rock stars as well, because they're the ones that are really making it happen for you every day. And if they're passionate and excited and want to serve you, that makes them a better team all around. So, strategically positioning messages and showcasing the culture and getting them involved. So as I spoke about those brand strategies from the beginning, your brand guidelines, your mission and vision, your mottos, think about how you can bring your team in to talk about what they're passionate about, because you want that to be in there. You want to make sure that what they're passionate about is here in this space, and that you can encourage that, because that's an important part of building your business. Again, branding everyday items that they can wear, that they can use at their desk, they can get excited about being part of this brand. And recognition goes a long way. So as I said, we believe our team members are rock stars as well. We encourage them to be that, and to treat each other that way, to treat the customers that way. We have a monthly recognition for them, so our Employee of the Month program really is to nominate rock stars. They get nominated, they get voted on, they become the rock star of the month, which means they get their own poster, they pose with a guitar, and they have this back of the poster showing off that they are a rock star. They get recognized every week with a different gift in front of the whole team. They also get a plaque on our Rockstar Hall of Fame where our customers can walk right by. And again, I hope you guys take a tour so you can see that, where it literally is, it looks like the Hall of Fame for rock, which is pretty cool. They get their plaque on there forever, recognizing that they really are a Rockstar team member. So again, just trying to create that experience. Think about more than that logo on your wall. Think about how you can build that experience for your space. And then just throw in there another possibility, trade shows. If you are going to trade shows, that's another space that you can brand. What signage are you taking with you that might be portable, that allows you to build that brand in that space as well? Kind of a mini version of your physical space that you have, your office space, but it is a very important one for you to showcase. That messaging has to be clear, it has to be quick, easy to read, because you don't have as much time. And then those giveaways are very important as far as what are they leaving with to get that impression of your brand, and how are they remembering you from that experience. So that is what I have as far as the strategy goes. If you have any questions at the moment, I can take those. Otherwise, I'll hand it over to my friend Wade with the long title, very important.
I'll make the long title easy. Business Unit Manager, the acronym for
We
that.
have one
bone.
question.
I'm so
So
sorry.
I'm the signage bone. Use that when you contact us. So, was there a question?
Well, I just said, I was curious because you said it takes on a life of its own, so I wanted to know the whole rock star thing.
Yes.
Like, did you see the vision from the beginning, or did it just start to keep taking on a bigger life and become more and more fun? Or?
This wall was one of the first things that we put in actually when we came into this building, the wall on the other side where it has the Rockstar mural. It actually started, I don't know if you guys know how we grew the business, but signage was kind of tacked on as Keith continued to grow. And so we were experimenting a lot, but we knew that's what we wanted to do. We knew that was the vision and the experience we wanted to make. but it's definitely evolved over time. It was not, that we had the whole program right from the beginning. We did have that wall right from the beginning to take their photo, but it grew from there. Hey, let's make their photo on this Rockstar Hall of Fame. Let's give them this personalized poster and pads. So we make it better every year, but the concept was definitely there from the beginning. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. So when we look at that Rockstar experience, right, Abby's team is the design team. They're going to make sure that your concert looks beautiful, that the backdrop is wonderful, that the pyrotechnics are cool. My team is the roadies. We're going to be the ones that plug everything in. We're going to make sure the right tools are used to set up that stage and make sure your experience for yourself and your customers is ideal. So what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today is the applications. We're going to dive into a little bit of the specifics, but want to also stress, if you haven't had a chance, we've got team members here, some of our vendor partners who have some material samples that you can look at. There's a lot of different applications that we're going to touch on just to give you an idea of what the possibilities are for you and your space. So starting out, the big one that everyone thinks of right away is the wall graphics. So there's a lot of potential in the walls in your space. Obviously, for the most part, you're not using that space for a lot of functional purpose, so it's a great way to set up the atmosphere, convey the message, and we have a lot of different tools to help you do that. What you see here are some samples of some text-heavy based applications and also some mixtures of text and graphics. We can really isolate what that vision is and use the right tools to do that. We can work on a variety of different surfaces. Everybody thinks of drywall, but we can work on all kinds of spaces. So we can go directly to concrete, to brick. If you've got wooden spaces, we can do all of that. And another key thing to bear in mind here is that these applications, they don't have to be permanent. So if you have a space that you want to brand permanently, great, but if you've got a promotional event or a grand opening or anything like that that you want to specify that's for a short period of time, we have short-term application materials that go on and can easily be taken off the wall by anyone. One of the things that is also increasingly popular these days is actually putting up magnetic panels in your building. So you can swap out magnetic graphics on those panels really easily, and that's a really good option for if you know that you're going to have a message that turns around frequently that you want to be able to change. So walls are definitely a key place where we can get that message across for you. All right, exteriors. We talked about this a little bit. Abby touched on it. This is really the first place that you're going to make an impression to your clients, and there's a whole ton of ways that we can speak to that. Again, temporary and permanent solutions. We have some lit solutions, some unlit, things that can be more functional in the sense of they're directional. If you're trying to drive people to a specific entrance, or if you have an employee entrance that you want to mark clearly so you don't have customers walking in there, that sort of thing is easily able to be done. We have things that are more temporary in nature, like these feather flags. These can be put out. They can last a long time, but they can also be used as more of a promotional item to focus on a specific message for a shorter period of time. So a variety of things that you see here, certainly primary building signage like what you see up here, and in this example is very important. We want to get your logo up there. We want your name to be seen, and we will help you in a variety of ways there. As Abby said, we want to come in as early as we can on that process. There's a lot of stipulations with exterior signage, usually from your municipality, that have rules about what you can put up and where and how big, things of that nature. So we want to work with you on that, but we also want to help make sure that we're going to have the maximum impact. And I'll just give you a quick example. We had a customer not too long ago who wanted to had a 10-story high building, and they wanted to put a big banner up on the building to let customers know that space was available for rent. They didn't know what side of the building they wanted to put the banner on, or if they wanted to put it on multiple sides. So one of our team members here actually went to that space, drove up and down the road multiple times to figure out which side of the building had the most dwell time for people to be able to see, and it was going to provide the most exposure, and really help guide the decision that way. And we were able to say that the average person coming westbound on this road is going to see this sign for 90 seconds. Coming eastbound, they're only going to see it for 65 seconds. So if you're going to choose where to spend your money, we're going to tell you to put it on the one side that has the longer exposure. So those are the kind of ways that we can help you early on in the process if you get us involved. All right, moving on. So dimensional lettering or dimensional logos, dimensional artwork. This is a really prominent thing. In fact, one of the common terms that's used around this type of signage is impact. Could be referred to as an impact logo, and that is because it has a lot of impact. So you'll frequently see these behind reception desks at your entrances, or in other key places that you want to draw attention to the logo. There are a variety of ways that these can be made. They can be adhered to the wall, they can be drilled into the wall. This is an example of kind of a high gloss piece that we did. You see some more metallic pieces here. We've done things out of wood or faux wood. We can do things that really have not just one layer of dimensionality, but two or more. So you can see these letters are a little thinner than the primary letters. So there's a lot of opportunity here to really customize. We can mix and match media too if it goes along with the message that we're trying to convey. So this one you can see has some metal as well as these are some actually plastic letters underneath there. So there's a variety of things that we can do to get your message out, your logo. These tend to be longer term solutions, but we do have options to make these a shorter term solution too. So there's things that we can do. A variety of materials, metal, foam, acrylic, wood. We've done them all. We've mixed and matched them together in the same logo, and that can be very effective, again, depending on the message that you're trying to convey and the feel that you're trying to get out there. All right, directories and wayfinding. We touched a little bit on this on the outside of the building, but you can see there's a variety of applications here. Whenever you want to direct traffic inside your building, whether that's your customers or your employees, you're going to want to have some sort of directory or wayfinding solution to drive people where you want them and to identify spaces. You may have noticed when you came in here that there was signage outside of the entrances to this room. So there's a variety of things that we can do there. And what you see here is a lot of examples as far as walls. Another thing to think about in this area is floors. We can do floor graphics that drive traffic, certain flow through your space if you want. We can use it also for safety. If you want to cordon off areas of your space so that people don't go in or customers don't enter, we can mark out those areas with graphics on the floors. Again, temporary, permanent. It can go on tile, it can go on carpet. A whole bunch of different options available for you. But you want to be able to control the flow of customers, employees. This is the type of signage that you want to go with. Another thing to consider here too is this is very important if you are in a public building. Americans with Disability Act is regulations that say you have to have your building accessible to people with disabilities. So this includes having signage with Braille, includes identifying, of course, where the restrooms are. There's a lot of stipulations legally around making sure you have evacuation plans posted and exit signs and things of that nature too, so we can help with that. That would all fall into this category. All right, frosting. This is an increasingly popular application we're getting asked to do a lot of. This is a vinyl material, typically goes on glass. You can see that we can do a variety of applications here. You see some of them up on the doors here in this very room. We can cut out logos, we can cut out text messages. We can do simple patterns. The nice thing about this is it can have a very sophisticated feel, very elegant, but it also can really serve a functional purpose. So this type of frosting provides some security, provides some privacy. So if you have spaces, conference rooms especially, where you need to be able to keep people from knowing what's going on inside necessarily with great detail, you can put up some level of this frosting and kind of use it as a way to block it out. Another option in this kind of same area is we have perforated window vinyls that are the kind where you can see out through the window, but you get a graphic from the other side, so you don't really see in. That's more of a printed piece as opposed to this, which is kind of a solid. But that's another option too that we can use for security purposes or for privacy purposes that may be a right fit for your space depending on the message that you want to put on there.
How long does that last?
So that's a great question. The vast majority of type of vinyls that we're going to talk about are available in a whole range of permanency. And it comes down to somewhat how the material is made and also the level of adhesive that's on the material. So we have the three main categories of adhesive are repositionable adhesive, so you can actually put it up, pull it down, move it to another location, stick it back up, no problem. Then we have removable, which is kind of made to go up and come down easily, but you're not going to take it and stick it up somewhere else again. And then we have the stuff that's intended to be permanent. And depending on the conditions and the material that's going on, those materials can be rated from 2 to like 11 years. And so some of that's driven somewhat by your budget. Obviously, the longer lasting stuff tends to cost more. So that's again another reason why we want to get involved with you early on in the process to help make sure that we're engineering the right solution for how long you think you intend to be in that space or how long you want that message to be up for. So, good question. All right, windows, doors, floors, and more. So we talked, this is sort of a summary of some of the stuff that we've talked about, but just to give you some additional examples of things that you may be able to use in your space. Certainly window graphics are critical and are used frequently. You see some in our own building here, and they can be, again, a variety of applications meant to target people on the outside, meant to target people on the inside. We can also do two-way graphics that have representation on both sides, so they can be serving a purpose for your staff as well as for your customers who are entering the building. You probably passed the elevator when you came up here, so we have graphics inside our elevator. You can put graphics certainly on the outside. Any space that is available, odds are good that we have an application that we can put graphics on there, and that includes ceilings. We actually have graphics that are made to go on ceilings as well. So, variety of different applications here. Again, we want to make sure that we are making the function follow the form for you. So if you guys have a specific message, the goal is not to cover every square inch of surface space in your building and make it look like an explosion of stuff. But we want to help work with Abby's team, with your people, to figure out what the messages that you're trying to convey and make sure we're engineering the right solution for it, choosing the right material that has the right function, the right level of permanency to address what you're trying to get out there. So, just to sort of wrap up and give you an overall example, this is a nice image that Abby's team put together to show how a lot of these different types of signage can be used and promotional items and print in the same space to really convey an overall message. So you can see some of the things that we talked about here called out, from the vinyl graphics to the dimensional graphics, floors, windows, all that sort of good stuff. So this is, I think, a nice image to inspire sort of what ideas you may be able to use in your space to convey that personality, that brand message that you want to get across. All right, so where do we go from here? So as Abby had mentioned, we have a full staff here attending the event this morning, willing and able to answer questions for you, talk about what next steps are, give you a walk through the building, kind of show how we implement some of these theories and these products to get our message across. So they're standing ready to assist you, but in the meantime, are there any other questions that we can answer for you? Abby or myself?
In reference to the municipality, that would be the company's responsibility to find out where they can place the signs, right?
That can be, or we can certainly assist you with that as well. So if there is a requirement that a sign be permitted, we can assist you in that process. There are fees associated with it from the municipality side that you have to pay to get them to review your permit or, application and make sure that it meets their requirements and stuff. So we can do that for you. We have experience doing that, and but by all means, if it's something that you want to tackle, we won't stop you, but we're here to assist.
So would you guys charge a fee for that as well?
There's a small fee associated with processing the application and the time involved in doing the research to find out what the codes are in your area. Typically, I mean, a lot of stuff, I assume a lot of you are coming from the Baltimore City, Baltimore County area, so we do a lot of work in those spaces and pretty familiar with those regulations. So there's not a lot of research often that goes into those, but we still have to go through a process with the municipality to get those approvals done. And typically, just so you know, we try to always do that before anything is produced. Worst case scenario for us is to make a sign for you and then find out that it can't go up. Obviously, that really only extends pretty much to the exterior building. They don't care much what you do on the inside, but there are some regulations as the outside. They don't want to make things that are too distracting for drivers driving by that would cause accidents and things of that nature. But they also have certain municipalities have a brand or personality that they are trying to convey too. So if it's a sophisticated community, they may not want certain types of signage up that are glitzy and going to turn it into a Las Vegas strip kind of down Main Street, right? So that's an important part of why those regulations are in place as well. Other questions? All right. Abby?
Oh, yeah. So our RMs will be around to give tours if anybody's interested. We have examples of everything mentioned today all around our building. Also available if you just have a couple questions, so feel free to mingle. There's still a bunch of food and coffee outside, so please don't make us hold on to that. Huh?
One last thing
Yeah.
with that as well, we do have a feedback form in your bags. If you would give us feedback, we are trying to do a series of these to make sure you guys are educating different products and know how best to use them. So please do fill that out. You can just leave it on the table, and we'll be happy to receive that feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. We'd love to make it better for the future. So.
Happy birthday to Abby.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Don't forget about our partners in the back. They have samples of materials as well, and they're happy to help answer those questions about the different solutions, permanent or temporary, all that good stuff. So, yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.